You're not attracting or retaining enough Gen Z talent because you don't understand how they view the world of work. And the longer you're putting the pressure on them to adapt rather than your business, well, the smaller your future talent pool is going to be. In this video, I'm going to share the key shifts we teach our clients when they're looking to hire Gen Z. The first thing we need to understand is the way we communicate has completely changed. We've moved from reactive phone calls that demand an answer there and then to more intentional communications. It's not unusual that a Gen Z apprentice will say to you, actually, I'm not sure about that right now. Can I get back to you later? And some businesses that we work with have members of their team that treat this kind of response as disrespectful, disengaged, or even just lazy. However, it's actually the opposite. Rather than respond to pressure or hasty communication, Gen Z apprentices would rather take it away and have the time and the space to really craft a meaningful response that aligns with what they want to say, rather than saying something just for the sake of it. Rather than taking this as conflict, here are some tips you can take to set clear expectations when it comes to communication. Tip number 1, define what counts as urgent communication and how those communications are sent. Tip number 2 is to use a messaging platform for quick operational comms. Things like Teams, Slack channels, or even WhatsApp groups are brilliant for setting response expectations. Tip number 3, provide email training, templates, examples of how to write them, but also how to respond and deal with your inbox, as this is something that might not have happened previously. Like any employee, you want to feel useful early on, even with the smallest tasks. That meaningful contribution relates directly to motivation levels. We wouldn't expect any other employee to just stick it out if a role was menial, repetitive, or disengaged from the wider business. So why do we expect that from our apprentices? And this isn't to say that they need some exciting job role, but give them something they have ownership of and explain to them why that matters and why that fits into the wider business. Improved roles and responsibilities allow for clearer feedback, which is a key part in keeping your apprentices engaged long term. If you've just left school, you're used to having a clear idea of how you're doing and what's next. So when that doesn't necessarily translate into the workplace, that leads to confusion, disconnect, and a lack of motivation. When that type of clarity isn't set up from the beginning, employers often only find out about these problems when an apprentice fails a module, they hit their endpoint assessment, or they just withdraw from the program completely. And that's because you're solely relying on the training provider check-ins instead of what's actually happening in your business on a day-to-day basis. The feedback and the progression that your apprentice expects, well, actually, it's an added advantage and goes a long way to motivating them, but also getting them productive more quickly. Here's how to implement this in the workplace. Number 1, map the apprenticeship standard to real tasks in your workplace. Number 2, set milestones for 30, 60, 90 days, and then a quarterly cadence. Number 3, run short, consistent reviews with clear notes, actions, and outcomes. And number 4, tie pay to real capability and increasing independence. You can see that Gen Z aren't just being awkward or acting differently from previous generations of employees. Instead, they just thrive on intentional communication, meaningful work, and continual feedback. There's just one more key piece that employers need to consider that, if done wrong, actually causes more dropouts than any of the 3 things we've just mentioned. Before we move on to that though, you might be noticing that these key shifts can live in an effective system that could benefit your wider organisation. And you would be right. For many automotive employers, Apprenticeship Central's retained service is exactly how they achieve this. So we build this system that sits within an apprenticeship program that delivers you high-performing apprentice candidates that become productive more quickly and stay long-term. We set up the progression pathways for you. We run the structured check-ins, and we build you an apprenticeship program that's actually built around the apprentices, not just the standards. Finally, the crucial part in ensuring that your Gen Z apprentice is a success is the mentor. Often, the best mentor is not the best technician or the best employee, but instead they're the person that can teach well, communicate clearly, and stay patient under pressure. Finding this person directly correlates to how the apprenticeship pans out and the success of that apprentice. Next, you need to understand the apprenticeship system behind all of this, because the rules affect how you plan wages, training methods, delivery and funding. We have a full video guide on apprenticeships that breaks down the whole system clearly. Watch that next, because once you understand the system, you can build a program that actually works.